G'day, Jacob from Crypto Critics here. Just going to do a quick recap on the SEC meeting, my opinion of it, and then we'll go over some chart shit, and yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet. Hopefully we'll get this done before the cherubs get home and jump in and try and take over the video. Uh, uh, some powerful people that be in America sat down, had a bit of a powwow, discussed the cryptocurrency space, and these people have significant influence and regulatory powers. So it is a worthy 2 hours of watching. If you're really going to be in this space for a few years, what's 2 hours going to hurt you? It'll give you a bit of an understanding how the American people that have that power view that space. But there was two slightly contrasting attitudes. One was from the SEC and one's from the CFC, I think, the people that do deal with commodities. But at the end of the day, they know it's not going anywhere. Some unique things they acknowledged is this: if the blockchain was up and going and fully functioning in 2008, they might have not have found themselves in the mess they did. They also acknowledged that this is the first time in ever that young people have actually come to look, understand, and try and Google. And finance is now on the radar of young people, which is quite amazing. Some of the ironic bits I learned was they were talking about ICOs and how they don't have disclosure, but at the same token, when pushed, one of the guys basically gave the impression that they don't read a prospectus from an IPO either, which is which is basically highlighting the point that even if you put the information out there and ICOs were fully transparent, would people read it? So that's a fairly good thought process, and that's what I mean. The conversation wasn't like our mate Koshy or something like that. It wasn't ill-informed. They do know the spread. They know what's going on out there in the markets. They do acknowledge that it's not going anywhere. There was some talk about being a $20 trillion market, and the quote was something like, "I got into mobile phones and people were laughing, and now I'm rich." So look, some of the stuff that's come out of it, people have maybe over-analysed, they maybe under-analysed the whole tone and taken out what they want. A lot of people seem to surround themselves with what they want to feel and not what they need to actually understand. So ICO is definitely a big no-no. As far as they're concerned, if ICOs are selling you something, it's a SEC or a commodity. Either way, it needs to be regulated. So there's no forgiveness for them and for the people that promote them. So they did mention, I think, Mayweather as an example, but that's what they were saying. Those who want to promote ICOs, those who want to do ICOs, you're in a bad spot. Be careful. But read between the lines. What happens after the ICO hits the market? It's no longer an ICO. So they never actually made that a statement in that space, and that caught me a little bit of interest. But one attitude was the Clayton from SEC was almost borderline scamish attitude, whereas the other bloke's like, look, my niece is in it, and I want to look after people like my niece who are 30 years old, and actually starting to think and understand. And he explained it. They used some. I mean, it was a fairly good watch it. They talked about hold or HODL and stuff like that. So they do know what's going on there in that space, and they are trying to. They're surprised because they're hoping that it probably translates over into the stock market, but not in a hurry. The stock market copped it like we did, so no forgiveness there. In fact, they were all whinging about losing squillions, but really, in the scheme of things, those who made profits would still be in front. So yeah, it was a fairly interesting thing. Look, there's probably a few other things I could mention about it. But main thing is they acknowledge they can't regulate anything outside the borders of America. They can regulate what's inside. They're both under-resourced because of the current budget and staff freeze and stuff. So they're not fully fledged. Remember, people thinking, oh yeah, they're toothless. Well, maybe they're a bit slow moving. Or realise they were talking about being understaffed to 2,000 people, not in a funding freeze and everything else. So there was very big interest from the politicians there to change that and to upgrade computer systems and to give these guys the power as well. They're talking about regulations and asked if there was enough in that space to be able to deal with it, and they kind of hinted at no, and they, in return, the hint from the politicians was, well, we can change that. So while a lot of people thought, yeah, it's all good. Remember, when these guys get their shit in the ground running, it could change a little bit of that landscape. But they have made it clear that the main landscape they are aggressive with, and they mentioned a few ICOs that are dodgy, is ICOs. Okay, so be careful, don't promote them. I won't be promoting ICOs. I'll just break them down, ask the questions to you guys. It's up to you to make your own assessment, choose your own adventure as such. But yeah, just have a watch of that video. It is good. It gives you an impression. And the funniest bit is, look at the end, about 15 minutes to the end, there's a very desperate looking politician, and he reminds me of all the average noobs and crowds that are going through the social channels going, hello, I know you can't answer too much, but do you think the latest stock market is more than, because this happened a couple of days after the crash, do you think the latest events in the stock market is just a correction or maybe more than a correction? It's like, wait up, mate, you can't go asking that shit because that could influence the market anyway. And you could tell, it's almost like he had his phone in his pocket, empty for trading, or his stock market broker on, ready to go sell, the news was bad. And he pushed and persevered for a few minutes on that. So have a look. If you ever wanted to look what a desperate senator, whatever he is, have a look at that bit. That's fun. Meme the shit out of it. Do you think it's going to go up? Do you think it's going to go down? Mate, I know that kind of talk is not allowed to happen between politicians and regulators too much. It's kind of like the separation of powers. But yeah, look, it was fun. Okay, well, moving right along, as I said, watch that video. It gives you a taste of what's coming out. And if they've got any influence on other international regulatory bodies having a look at what happens in America, then that might actually set the benchmark. And who knows, I would imagine some of this shit to bleed through into free trade agreements or treaties or stuff in the future where disclosure between countries is going to be a given. So don't think because you travel and bank in one country and move it to another country that you're going to be protected, especially if you're in America, because I imagine that shit's going to, in the next 5 years, be pretty well sealed up like a duck's bum. Alright, now, we'll go to the markets. I've been watching this market for last couple of months. I've been saying, look, 8, and then 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It tested to go down to close to 5. I think it removed some of that noise, but at the worst, yeah, it did touch into the 6s the other day. Had a bit of a bounce, come back up. Now, my overall picture has come from mid-November, so basically when the impulse started, all the way up to where it started to go a bit downwards from mid-December. It touched, and this is why I've used the fib. It just touches a few of these spots really well, the support levels, and kind of bounces off, becomes resistance, comes down, touches resistance, breaks through resistance, and then it didn't like where every time it's closed here, it comes back up, just hovering. It just can't hold that big market, that 16 grand figure that was happening at the beginning of the year. And it starts to make its merry ass way down. It touches back onto this 382 level, and it seems to go sideways off that as it tries to work out whether it wants to break it or either side. And then the sides, stuff you all, I'm going to break that. And it doesn't just break that level in the 236, it goes right down and shows us because this is my floor. My floor was sitting around 5.5, so it got pretty close to breaking through the floor. And if it breaks through the floor, then really, it's anyone's guess where it can go. It's going to be an interesting thing, but maybe not. And so I've been playing around with fib, and I like the idea of it. It just seems to be holding, especially in this pattern. So maybe it's what's being used to determine the big players or the small players. Who knows? Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are using it and making it happen. But either way, I'm looked at that down to basically I'm trying to have a look at this big impulse, see what I'm seeing. Decided to play with a fan, but have a look at it. It's kind of very close. It's sat in that main channel for a while, And I think that's still 0.5 channel. Oh no, that's what's that? Oh, look. Anyway, whatever that is, maybe the 0 channel. And then then it's gone to 6.3, 618, 0.5. Can't break the 0.5, and this is what I was actually looking at for the last 24 hours. I thought, let's just leave that, because I don't know, this could be all hobble gobbles, and then it could be just gobbledygook, and I've got it wrong. But I'm just going to watch it and learn, and that's what I like about this. It's a science. You can't just go back and go, well, that worked, that one didn't work, and just forget about it. And learn from it. So I'm just theorising. Maybe that's what it did. It hit this kind of time frame, because what I've noticed is it's going sideways down, and I wanted something to try and accommodate for that sideways movement. And so that's my logic about trying to use this Fibonacci fan, just to try and account for that sideways movement and give me an indication of when it goes sideways, when's it going to break. So look, I was hoping it would touch this 382 and maybe break, and it may be sitting that channel for a little while, because that channel will expand out and slowly get bigger and wider. But it'll be interesting to see if it does kind of test this channel all the way to 5.5. Let's say what would be a good time frame? End of February. Yeah, if it follows that time frame. But again, I still think that's going to shift, and it'll drop down and maybe shift across and drop down. And what's got me intrigued is this Bitcoin chart almost feels like it's lagging behind our Litecoin chart. The Litecoin, I reckon this is where it feels like Bitcoin is now to me. It's like it's made the first, it's about to make the first top and come down. This is what's got me interested in Litecoin. It's come up, tested, dropped, it's come up, it's tested again. Now I don't know if this is what they call double top or not, but again, this is just me just trying to learn from this shit, as we all should. It's kind of tested that 170-ish level for $1. No, sorry, not dollar. $170. But because I said this to my mate the other night, I said I feel like this one was going to touch 152 and bounce back. It touched 155, I think, and come back down. It just feels like, especially look at the volume. The volume's very small, not much support. I would maybe thinking this is going to come back and eventually drop through down, and it's still calling out my my 80s. So let's see how that goes. It might take a little bit of time. Let's say in the next, on a bad day, maybe, as I said, this feels a bit more advanced than what's happening in Bitcoin. And no financial advice. I would say next couple of days, let's see what it does. All depends. If our friend Bitcoin drops to 7.5, I think that'll accelerate our friend here to 130. If this goes below 7.5 and a great rush and hits 5.5, again, this is still going to this will tap out at 85. So let's watch it. Let's play. I'm not in this market at the moment. It's not financial advice, but not confident. I still see downward trajectory no matter what you're looking at. Even with a draw, because I like pretty lines, and we all do. We like pretty lines and try and work it out. And that's sometimes what we've got to do. Look at the pattern. Oh yeah, come here. Give me a horizontal. No, it won't be that right. Give me that one. Okay. Yeah. I'd move that to here. It just feels like I think it changed them there. And that's what it feels like the channel is for me. Somewhere around like that. Okay, now I couldn't give you the bottom because it seems to be trashed at the moment. Yeah, but I got a feeling this is double topping and this is going to go down. And that's what you got to do. You just got to keep an eye on it, think where the channels are going, draw your line, see if something correlates, the best correlation. And people go, I had this argument the other day, technical analysis is shit. Well, That's not much better. So at least you give yourself a plan. Even if it's wrong, you're going to learn from your plan, because you're going to go, look, okay, I think it's not going to break above. I think it's on its way down. It should test 130. Let's keep an eye on that. And you go, why? What's giving me that indication? Well, low volume. The overall feeling is still down. It doesn't really, and it's kind of double topping out here. Now, I don't really, I'm not a major person of the strength indicators and that at the moment, because again, the volume's not that strong to really give you any fair assessment. Some bloke can come in there with a big order, and that's what you'll find is there's a lot of orders, small orders, itty bitty, gritty, nitty orders, which suggests, and there's a rumour that there was $70 million of shorts against Bitcoin yesterday at 8.7, so maybe people are starting to think downward's still the way it goes. What are we looking for? Yeah. There's some reasonable orders there. Yeah, there's some reasonable ones. Yeah. But there's a lot of shitty ones too. And these shitty ones will get chiseled, bitten up like a little bloody fry. And that's what is funny, because sometimes these big ones, as they start to get eaten into, people may or may not, they might be, and what I've noticed is some of the big ones might even have the same metrics, the same numbers. So you'll find that some bloke's got 243 there, and somewhere up here it's got 243 here, and it's like they're just milking that channel. So I don't think there's really much volume to justify jumping in at the moment. It looks like it's still on its merry ass down. And look, if you don't like what I say, maybe show me something different. Give me something else to look at. You never know, I might have got this all freaking wrong. Otherwise, that's my run for today. Again, Bitcoin on its way down. Didn't come. It did come up, did test around 9,000, 9.2 I think, and then didn't see much support and came down. So, and same thing with Litecoin, tested about 160, 170, and the support there's not that strong, and on its way it comes back down. So I'll do a video in the next couple of days. Haven't done one because it's been stinking hot out here, 45s, and it's not much fun when you're doing shit like that. But take it easy, everyone. Hooroo from Oz.